All right, this is reaction video number 27. And this looks like a lecture. Looks like we're on camera here. Not sure where to put myself. I'll try over here maybe for a little bit. Let's see how it goes. It's actually pretty short, so we'll see what we're doing here.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बि ज़िदनी इल्मा. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students of class 8. Today we are here with the
Cool.
very first
Bilingual.
lecture of physics, and the topic is relation between force and momentum.
Excellent.
Open book, page number 67 and 68.
So the open your book, right? So this is really a true lecture. They're supposed to have materials in front of them. And I love it, right? Because, what the teacher chooses to replicate on the board, likely a lot of this stuff is going to be in the book as well. But by putting extra emphasis on the board, she can sort of help the students understand, what's going on.
Now we shall start the topic. The background of the topic is that a body of mass m is moving with initial velocity vi.
Just quick, I want to say I love the pointer. I don't care what people use as a pointer, but pointers are helpful in these videos because there's often so much information that it's hard to tell what to look at. And so the pointer is great. It's interesting, right? Because the pointer actually covers some stuff up. So you can see here that we can't see underneath here, but that's okay because she really wants us focusing up here. So I really love that. I'm just going to go back a little bit here. There we go.
Topic is that a body of mass m is moving with initial velocity vi. So momentum of this body is pi, where I shows the initial. pi, yani initial
Cool.
momentum is equals to mvi.
Cool.
If a force is applied on the body, acceleration is produced in it, and its velocity is changed from vi to vf. So final momentum is...
So it's interesting that there's this mix, right, of vector notation and scalar notation. The way she drew these, I'm not sure if these are vector symbols over the symbols. I don't think they are. I think that she's saying that it literally becomes a longer vector, and so the velocity has increased, the magnitude has increased. And here I'm guessing she's going to stay in one dimension, right? So it's so fascinating to me to build from something simple, one dimensional at first, and keep an eye out for things that she might say that are going to give her trouble when she shifts to multiple dimensions. Because so far everything she said would work in multiple dimensions. I would guess that we're going to hear very little, if anything, that could immediately be taken and applied to a multidimensional situation, which is great, right? Because then the students are saying, oh, okay, this is the same thing we've already learned, but look, the ramifications are different.
Momentum is equals to mvf. The change in velocity is represented by delta v is equals to vf minus vi.
Works with
now
vectors.
Switch over to the derivation. The derivation shows that initial momentum of the body is equals to pi. P is for momentum is equals to mvi. Final momentum of the body is equals to p.
So I'm just going to stop here and let's compare and contrast her having pre-written this to writing it herself. So she has great legible, board work here. Not a problem. My guess is she could have done this on the fly, but then her body would be in the way, and what she's literally talking about might not quite be visible underneath her, whiteboard marker. So having it written already is great because then she can use this pointer. My question for you guys is the value of a gigantic cover up, right? So some big thing we might actually put over this so that, they can only see what she wants them to see. This is a big conversation piece for me. I was just having it with my own children about, what happens if it's going too slow for you? What happens if it's going too fast for you? And I think that some students can look ahead and say, oh, yeah. Or perhaps even looking at the book. That's a really interesting point in this case. They've got the book, so it's not like she can hide that from them. So I think that the pointer is key here. So I really like that. Just go back up a tad.
For momentum is equals to mvi. Final momentum of the body is equals to pf is equals to mvf. The change in momentum, that how much the momentum has been changed after the force is being applied. Delta p is equals to pf minus pi.
Works for vectors.
Rate of change of momentum. Actually, we want to compare everything with the time. So we may be aware that in how much time the momentum has been changed from the final momentum, from the initial.
So this is interesting, right? So she's using the delta formulation for the change in P, and she's not using it for T, right? And I think it might be because she uses the phrase change of. So we don't actually think of time passing as the change of time. Well, I guess we kind of do. So if you really wanted to drive home delta as being the change of something, then she's saying over an amount time T. So, I mean, all of us physics teachers know what she's saying here, but it's interesting if she's trying to protect it all, the delta formulation for from using it in time. And I'll just say again, everything she has done, everything she has done will work in the vector formulation when she needs to go to multiple dimensions.
The initial momentum to the final momentum. Therefore, we have divided the change in momentum by time. So, the rate of change of momentum is equal to delta P by T. So, PF is equal to MVF minus PI is equal to MVI
Cool.
divided
Really
by
laying it down.
time.
Yeah. Love it.
Taking common M, we get the expression as M into VF.
So interesting, right? So there's right away, boom, there's something that no pause, no hitch in her voice, but we all know that M could change, right? So there are crazy problems where M could change. So this notion of factoring out the M's is only for special cases. Admittedly, a lot of the cases, but it's interesting to note that right there, boom, already that is an approximation, a special case, doesn't always work. And you can see why she's doing it. She wants to get to MA. It totally makes sense why she's trying to do this. And so I know a lot of people are like, oh, let's stop saying F equals MA. Let's start saying F equals dPdt, or the change in momentum in time, so that it always works. But come on, so much of our experiments in everyday life, MA is totally fine. And it has to do with being able to factor this out right now and say, well, they have the same mass both before and after. Technically, we could put a final here and an initial here, but good Lord, they're the same. Let's move it over. And then you have this direct move down here to MA. And so, it's probably, well, I guess I don't know. There's a chance that her students are not going to see mass changing problems, like rocket problems or something. And so it could be that in their experience in this class, they could always do that. But my question for you guys is, how worth it is it to point that out now, which might throw some weirdo confusion into your students? It reminds me, I was just talking yesterday with somebody who was talking about Get the Facts Out. This is a national program trying to help people understand the facts about teaching, and that a teaching career is a super valuable career. And they were saying you really should avoid saying things like, people say that teaching is blah, 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 something bad, and then follow that with, actually, it's this cool thing. And what they have found in their research is doing that, people say, da, 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 da. That's what people remember. And so you've actually accidentally, unintentionally reinforced this notion that is fighting against what you're trying to accomplish. In the same way, you could say, actually, you got to be really careful with your M's. So this only works sometimes, can really sow some doubt in your students. And they're like, what? Huh? I don't understand. And so to protect it, it's not a great analogy, right? Because we do want people to know the truth, right? But to be able to do things in their everyday lives, to understand this concept of pushing things around, pulling things, forces, this idea of factoring the M out is usually fine. Also note, still fine vector, but if she actually just plunks some numbers in here and just subtracts them, that's when the vector stuff breaks down.
Vf minus Vi by time. As all of you know that Vf minus Vi by time is equals to acceleration. Therefore, the expression becomes delta P by T is equals to Ma. From Newton's second law of motion, we know that Ma is equals to F. Therefore,
Cool.
This expression becomes delta P by T is equals to F.
So that's really interesting, right? So some people would say that this derivation that she is doing is like the critical crux. Like, hey, this is the thing we got to keep an eye on. Apparently, change of momentum is the whole deal. Momentum is king, something I was known of saying, a decade ago. But listen to what she said. She said, we've already seen F equals Ma, so boom, this must be F. Some people would say, yeah, but that's because of this, right? It's not just, oh, let's just name something as F equals ma. So I think that to say this boxed equation that force causes change in momentum over time is kind of the whole story. And I actually think that that's actually where they're going to be leading here in the next little bit.
Now this expression states that when a force is applied on a body, acceleration.
Just a quick note, and I'll backtrack. Notice that what she's saying is almost verbatim what she has written on the board, but her pointer is actually pointing up at the symbols that are impacted, the mass, the force being applied. So here, to have it written, she's not like taking her pointer and going, when a force acts on. So that's there, and they can read it, but she's actually pointing at stuff while she's saying it. And I'll go back. Notice that I think her verb here was slightly different or something, but who cares, right? It's super important to really try multiple ways to get your students really engaged with this. So I'm just going to go back. Yeah, right there.
That when a force is applied on a body, acceleration is produced in it. And this force is equals to the rate of change of momentum. Repeat with me.
Cool.
When a force is applied on a body, acceleration is produced in it, and this force is equals to the rate of change of momentum.
Very cool.
Now your homework for today is derive the relation between force and momentum. First you will start from the page number 68 and you will write this statement.
Cool.
Okay, when a force acts on a body, it produces acceleration in the body and it is equal to the rate of change of momentum. Then you will write this heading derivation. Then you will do all this derivation in your neat notebooks according to the given direction. Okay, thank you class. Assalamu alaikum. A is equal.
Okay, so very, very interesting, right? So she basically did their homework for them. And so now she wants them to do it as well. Could they have done it while she was speaking? That's an interesting question. Probably not. She was, talking is always faster than writing. So why have them write it? Why have them go home and do this? Well, because it really drives home, because you can read it. It can be a student say, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But if you have to sit there and write every step, it can really help drive it home. So I think that's really, really interesting. I think I'll stop there. There's some more here. Looks like she's just doing it again. Yeah, I'll just stop here. Very, very interesting. I loved how she was doing one-dimensional and that it was working. Literally everything she did worked. It will work for her later when she goes to multiple dimensions. That's super cool. And I really liked the really interesting difference of use of delta, putting it in front of the P but not the T. And obviously she's done this a lot because when she got to here, she's like, oh, you guys know this. This is acceleration. So this is clearly how she's continued to do it. That's really interesting. And then this idea of having the students, really take some time to get it under their skin, I think is really interesting. All right, you guys, thanks so much. Have a great day. And remember, physics teachers are awesome.